Want to know what happens when a championship move doesn't age well? Ask the Dodgers about Teoscar Hernandez. 1 year ago, they handed him a 3-year, $66 million contract. He was coming off a monster season, a huge part of their 2024 World Series run, and everyone thought it was a smart investment. Fast forward 12 months, and now they're reportedly trying to move him. Bob Nightingale from USA Today is saying the Dodgers are weighing whether to trade Hernandez just 1 year after paying him. That's not a good sign. That's the kind of thing that happens when production falls off a cliff and the front office realizes they need to cut their losses before the problem gets worse. Here's what changed. In 2024, Hernandez posted a 4.3 BWAR. He was hitting home runs, driving in runs, and holding his own defensively in right field. The bat was hot enough that you could overlook some defensive limitations. That's always been the deal with Hernandez. You live with the defense because the offense makes up for it. But in 2025, his BWAR dropped to 1.5. That's a massive decline in just one season. The home runs are still there. The RBIs are still reasonable, but the advanced metrics tell a different story. His fielding got worse. His range declined. And when your bat isn't producing at an elite level anymore, those defensive shortcomings become glaring problems. You can't hide a poor defender when he's not mashing 30-plus home runs and driving in 100 runs. The Dodgers are staring at $26.5 million owed to Hernandez. That's a significant chunk of change, even for a team with their payroll flexibility. And that money becomes an anchor if they want to make other moves this offseason. Trading him would unlock financial resources they could use to upgrade the outfield and address other needs, like the closer spot. Nightingale makes an interesting point about how the Dodgers operate. Everyone assumes they're going to be in on every big-name free agent because they have money. They've got $80 million coming off the books. But the reality is they're not going to get into bidding wars for guys like Kyle Tucker, Cody Bellinger, or Yandy Diaz. They'll make calls. They'll show interest. But unless they move Hernandez, they're probably looking at cheaper options like Harrison Bader. That's the domino effect. If they can trade Hernandez, suddenly the entire offseason strategy changes. They can be aggressive. They can target impact players instead of settling for depth pieces. They can address multiple needs instead of just plugging holes. But if they're stuck with his contract, they're limited in what they can realistically do. The question is whether anyone wants Hernandez at that price. He's still capable of hitting. He can still provide clutch moments in big situations. He's a veteran presence in the clubhouse, a leader who's been through playoff battles and knows what it takes to win. Those intangibles matter, but $26.5 million for a guy whose production dropped significantly and whose defense is a liability, that's a tough sell. There might be teams willing to take a chance, contenders looking for outfield help who believe they can get more out of him than the Dodgers did last season. Teams that think a change of scenery could spark something. Teams that value his playoff experience and leadership qualities. But those teams are going to ask the Dodgers to eat some salary. They're going to want the price reduced to make the risk worth it. This is what happens when you re-sign a player coming off a career year. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes the production continues and everyone's happy. But sometimes the player was already at his peak and you just paid him for what he did yesterday instead of what he's going to do tomorrow. The Dodgers might be learning that lesson the hard way with Hernandez. The locker room aspect can't be ignored either. Hernandez is respected. He's been part of championship teams. He knows how to handle pressure. Losing that voice could matter, especially for younger players who benefit from having veterans around. But at some point, production has to match the paycheck. At some point, you have to make the hard business decision, even if it means losing a good guy. If the Dodgers manage to trade Hernandez, their outfield could look completely different. They'd have flexibility to pursue better defensive options. They'd have money to spend on players who fit their current needs more precisely. And they'd shed a contract that was starting to look like a mistake before it got worse. But if they can't move him, they're stuck. They're paying him $26.5 million to be a below-average defender who's no longer elite offensively. That's not a recipe for sustained success, especially when other teams are getting better and the competition in the National League is fierce. The closer situation is another wrinkle. The Dodgers need bullpen help. They need someone who can shut down the ninth inning without drama, but addressing that need costs money. If Hernandez's salary is eating up resources, they can't be as aggressive in pursuing relief pitchers. It all connects. Every dollar matters when you're trying to optimize a championship roster. Nightingale's report suggests the Dodgers would prefer cheaper outfield options like Bader. That's fine if you're building depth, but if you're trying to win a third straight championship, you need impact players, not just bodies to fill roster spots. Bader is solid, he's reliable, but he's not moving the needle the way someone like Tucker or Bellinger would. The reality is the Dodgers are in a tricky spot. They made a big investment in Hernandez that didn't pay off the way they hoped. Now they have to figure out how to fix it without making the situation worse. Trading him means taking a hit financially or in terms of what they get back in return. Keeping him means living with declining production and limited flexibility. This is the business side of baseball that fans don't always see. Championships are built on smart decisions and timely moves, but they're also maintained by recognizing mistakes quickly and correcting them before they become catastrophic. The Hernandez situation is a test of whether the Dodgers front office can do that. There could be interested teams. There could be a market for a guy who still has pop in his bat and playoff experience, but finding the right match, negotiating the salary, making it work for both sides, that's complicated, and time is ticking. The winter meetings are happening now. Free agents are signing. Teams are making moves. The Dodgers need to figure this out before opportunities pass them by. If they pull off a trade, if they can move Hernandez and upgrade the outfield, they'll be in the driver's seat for another title. They'll have the roster construction they need. They'll have the financial flexibility to address other needs. But if they can't, if they're stuck with this contract and the production that comes with it, their margin for error shrinks significantly. So we wait to see what happens. We watch to see if anyone bites on Hernandez. We see if the Dodgers can turn a bad situation into something workable. Because right now, 1 year after signing him to be a key piece, he's become a problem they need to solve. And how they solve it might determine whether they're celebrating a third straight championship or wondering what went wrong.